Let me now move on and we sort of summarize what, as a food company, then we should focus on, be it a food retail or a food processing. So there are six. Obviously, these are generic, but these are sort of the six. I will say the six-pointed star of supply chain quality management, which is very relevant for food industry. Traceability. Traceability is increasingly becoming important these days. So I must know exactly from which supplier, which farmer, which feed has been given to the fish or the chicken, or what kind of products have been used. Who are all the players in the supply chain? What kind of raw material they use? What kind of feed they give to the products? And I must know from where, possibly the country of origin for each of these. So I know exactly if there is a problem, I can trace back to where it has happened. It has been enormously difficult task even for the horse meat scandal or for the peanut butter case to really point out why this was happening. If this traceability is improved, it is easier said than done, as I said. Then almost every player in the supply chain has to ensure that. But that industry is slowly moving in that direction to increasingly having better traceability. Sometimes it is regulation driven. Some regulatory requirements ask them to really give the point of origin of everything. Transparent practices, again, be transparent at least with your own customer, own suppliers. But as you say, this is a very complex supply chain with hundreds of suppliers and so on. And as an OEM, as a food processor, or as a big company, or as in a retail, it will be very difficult for me to have transparency with every player in the chain. But at least I should do with my immediate suppliers and ask those suppliers to have better transparent practices with their next tier of suppliers and so on. Testability is still an issue, so to what extent we can improve the testing procedures. It's a little bit difficult compared to any other manufacturing industry, because if you have developed test procedures, then it can only detect the things which are there in that test procedure. If it's not there, it goes undetected. So improving the testability is always sort of an ongoing challenge. Time is extremely critical. I should divide that into sort of three different types of time. One is obviously the lead time from sourcing to your actual manufacturing to distribution, or maybe from the manufacturing to your customer. There is another time element in terms of recall. How fast do I respond to recall? Or the other time element maybe how much time do I have in terms of a disaster? If such a negative event happens, how much stock do I have? How much time do I really need to react? And so on. And also training is becoming extremely important, and that's why probably Vijay and I and our team, and we are all interested in training more and more food professionals in more analytical techniques and more advanced decision making, because training is something which is lacking in this industry in particular. It's not because they have been going through many turmoils, and it's not so easy to train them on multiple aspects, and training is really a clear, very important need, because many suppliers are very small, they don't really have the right kind of education, and many maybe farmers have not been able to been trained on the effective use of fertilizers, and there's a lot of sort of information asymmetry which happens. Maybe a big company knows it, but how do they ensure that the players or even the employees of the smallest supplier actually knows what it means to have a traceability, what are some of the good practices, and how do I really test it, and so on. So I will really sum up and say traceability, testability, transparency, time, and training are really the touchstones which all food companies should work on to avoid any kind of recall in this industry.